Hey everyone, we're going to talk about the grip today, one of the most underutilized fundamentals in the game of golf, because guess what? It's the only part of your body that is touching this golf club, so you need to get it right for you. Lou, what kind of golf grips do we have?
Well, so we have, interlock and overlap. That's one thing to talk about, and 10-finger grip too. A lot of people just have all 10 fingers on the grip. So I used to interlock, and then all of a sudden I started to get arthritis in my pinky from years and years of hitting, so then I went to the overlap. And interlock and overlap are basically just to get your hands a little bit closer together for speed.
Definitely. So how do you interlock your fingers? Well, for a right-handed golfer, you're going to take your right pinky finger and your left index finger, and they're essentially going to hug each other behind the golf club.
Yeah, one of the things I find with our students is when they go for that full interlock, it takes their right hand underneath the grip too much. So then for years what I did was I actually took my right hand and went over the grip more, which slid my pinky a little bit out of that interlock. But that was to get what I call basically a neutral grip in the right hand, where the V to my right hand was pretty much pointing at the right chest.
And there's some variables that play into how much you can interlock. For example, grip size or thickness of your fingers, length of your fingers. So there are some players that really will get a complete interlock, and there's going to be other players that might have sort of what I call a partial interlock. Either way, we work with you to help you find what's the best grip when you do interlock. Now, when we overlap, that's the grip that I was taught as a kid. You take your right pinky finger for a right-handed golfer, and it sits on top of the left index finger. So you almost have this sort of sitting on top motion with those two fingers.
Yeah. Did you start out when you were junior, did you start out with an overlap, or did you start out with 10 fingers on the club when you were young?
Definitely started as an overlap. That's just how my coach taught me. But yeah, as a coach now with a lot of juniors, I will teach them the 10-finger grip and then start to get them to blend into overlap or interlock.
Yeah, and a lot of people, especially the juniors in the beginning, sometimes with our juniors, they're so young, we'll actually have them split grip it a little bit so that the club feels lighter and they have more control over their swing. Also explaining to the junior, explaining to the parents, down the road, we're going to move those hands closer together, and then we're going to decide based on not only what they like feel-wise, but what works for them based on the size of their hands. Jack Nicklaus did not have very big hands, and he explained that he needed the interlock to feel like he was really holding onto the club.
And if you do have larger hands, oftentimes the overlap position will allow those hands to work closer together. And if you're a newer golfer just looking to get the golf ball airborne, start with 10 fingers. That's where all your knuckles are lined up in a row. It's a great, easy way to get access to getting the ball up in the air right away.
So now we have a neutral grip. We used to call it a weak grip. I don't like to use the word weak.
Right.
I think, and the doctor here knows, I think that on the mental side, telling a student that they should have a weak grip just sounds like they're a weak player. So I like neutral grip. Then we have a slightly strong grip. And then we have a lot of students that have a brutally strong grip. When I was younger and I was learning the grip, I did not like the way a neutral grip felt. But that's what I was taught from the beginning. And then I did some research later, once YouTube hit and we had the ability to go online. I did research for myself of what some of the great swings were doing out there. The Rorys of the world, Tiger Woods, Ben Hogan, Ernie Els. For me, they had neutral grips. So I was like, all right, well, I think I'm going to go with a neutral grip. That's not for everybody, that's for sure. And the doc here has a little secret that's going to make us find out where we need to be.
So everyone's going to have a different placement of where they position their hands on the grip that dictates what the face does. We're all different. It's great to start with models to try to copy grips, but we really want to find what's the best hold for you. And some players might have their lead hand really turned over towards their trail shoulder, and some players might need to have their lead hand a little bit more in the middle. So here's a really cool way to kind of check out what's the best position for you in relation to the club face. All you need is your golf club and then some flat surface. Could be the side of a couch, it could be what we're using today, a brick, a grip analyzer, something flat, something that you can see what happens to the face. So let me show you how to work this. If I were to take a grip that was inappropriate for me, like it didn't match my swing style and it caused the face to remain open, for me that would look something like this. Between the thumb and the first finger, that little line points forward of my sternum. And as I get the club setting flush to the brick, I will take my stance, and I'm now going to, with the left hand only, rotate my body into an impact position, and you'll see how the club face begins to open. So what that tells me is that how my hand is attached to the grip right now would create an open face. An open face for a right-handed golfer is going to be something that slices the ball. So because that face opened with this type of attachment, I'm now going to turn my hand more towards my trail shoulder. So as I rotate it, you'll see the line between the thumb and the first finger now point to the trail shoulder for me, and I'm going to retest if this hold is appropriate. As I rotate my body, left hand only, I'm going to pretend that I'm moving into impact, and lo and behold, you'll see that the face remains pretty square. That's how I know that this particular hold matches my rotation and my turns, and it's going to keep the club face square. But Lou, I'd love to see you have a open face grip, a neutral grip, and then a closed face grip so that we can see the different types of ball flight that would emerge. So can you show us what an open face grip would look like for you and your style?
So if I set up, should I do it with the brick, Doc?
Yeah, let's do it with the brick to make sure it's an open face grip.
So I'm going to put the club, and folks, this is the leading edge, and this is going to run parallel to this brick right on there. It gives us a good idea too of what square is. And then get set up. I like to set up with the butt end of the club pointing at the inside of the left thigh, and then I'm just going to take what I feel is a neutral grip right from here.
Okay, so now let's take the right hand off the club and then just rotate your body into impact, relaxing that left hand. And we're seeing that the toe is coming away from the brick, so that's an open-faced grip.
Yep.
Now let's hit a shot, because we would then predict it to fade or cut to the right.
Okay. And I'm going to hit it with that grip. And I'll do everything I can to not hit it to the right. And right down the middle. So it's a little right of the flags, folks, just a little bit. So that didn't feel too bad.
So that could be more of maybe a power cut or something that eliminates the ball going left. Let's say the ball's
Well, you know, I think that's a key right there. Jack Nicklaus talked about that when it came to grip. He actually talked at times under pressure. He would go even weaker with his grip. He did not want to hit the ball left.
Right. It's like an anti-hook type position.
Yeah, and there's a lot of players that play like that, where they're going at it as hard as they can, and they know they can't hit it left, and their misses to the right. Sometimes a little too much, but they know it's going right.
So let's see a hold position where your lead hand is really turned over to the right, very excessively. And as we do the grip test.
So I'm going to take the left hand,
yeah, we've
the
got
lead
maybe
hand.
Like 2 knuckles showing,
Ugh,
3.
Man, some of our students come in here, I just can't believe they can even hit a golf shot with their hand. I mean, their hand's like this. I'm like, I don't know.
Well, look what happens to the entire arm structure, right? You have the forearm that rotates on top. You have the shoulder that begins to creep up towards the ear. So this is going to influence the entire golf swing at this juncture.
Yep. So okay. Now do the test again?
Yep, let's go up to the brick.
Keep it square. Now all of a sudden, because of that left-hand grip, it's affecting the way I want to grip the club with my right hand.
Definitely.
I feel like all of a sudden I want to go underneath with the right hand. Strong grip, strong grip.
So for the test, we're going to remove the right hand and now rotate your body through impact, just letting the golf club. Are you feeling, oh yeah, so the heel is now starting to move away from the brick and the toe is really digging in. So that's going to be a face closer. That's going to create more draws and more hooks. The more that the lead hand turns back towards the trail shoulder, the more the golf ball is going to work to the left of the player. And
you know, the other thing here too, as we're doing this test, can we talk a little bit just about what impact is? So if you're trying to do this test on your own, you know, look in front of a mirror and just understand, at least in the world of coaching, what impact is for us. For me, when I'm looking at impact for somebody, they're rotating and clearing. They're getting themselves out of the way for their arms and the club to swing. And also, in a good impact position, you kind of see that the belly's out. There's a little arch to the back. I'm transferring weight over to the left side. So this position right here has the butt end of the club kind of pointing at the middle of the thigh or outside the left thigh, and then boom, there's what I would consider a pretty good impact position. And it is posed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's take a look to see what happens to the ball flight.
Okay, so we're going with, ooh, this is going to go left.
This is going to be that stronger grip.
All right, so I'm going to do everything I can to keep that club face square, but now I have the left hand in a much stronger position. And then here we go.
Oh yeah, that's
There it
going
goes.
left. Look at that thing soar.
You know, it's interesting too, it's really not moving a lot, so there's not a lot of right to left movement on it, but it started left immediately for me.
One of the big reasons why it started left is because we know with technology that for irons, the club face is responsible for 75% of the influence of the start line.
Yeah.
So if your face is pointed to the left, your golf ball will start to the left. If your face is pointed to the right, your golf ball is going to start to the right. Now, of course, there's some other factors that we can get into in other videos, such as gear effect and loft, that can influence that start line. But generally speaking, if you're a slicer and you're struggling with the golf ball moving to the right, we need to close the face, or what I like to joke with my students, shut your face, Lou.
I like
Get
that.
that club face shut. One of the ways that you can do that is by manipulating your hand placement. So as we just saw with Lou, he had more of like 2, almost 3 knuckles that were visible on that lead hand that influenced the club face.
Yep.
That made the golf ball go to the left.
Here's what's important about that too, because we do this in lessons and demonstrate for our students. I didn't change my golf swing having the strong grip. So I was still in a good position to make my swing and commit to it. And of course, that's what happens to the golf ball immediately. But here's the thing. When you're gripping it like that for a long period of time, you're not going to want to see that golf ball going left. And that's aggressively left. This is a 9-iron, folks. Imagine what would happen with a longer club as it stays in the air. It's really good. And the longer clubs are going to go low left. So then what happens? Do you change your grip, or you like that grip so much you change your swing? And the majority of people change their swing and they start finding out how to hit it straighter. And the next thing you know, they have another problem.
And the grip is so custom and unique to each individual golfer. Think of it like a fingerprint. So my grip isn't going to look like Lou's, and Lou's isn't going to look like mine. We have different hand size, we have different structure, we have different bone lengths from the humerus bone to the lower arm. All of that comes into play with how our hands are going to be positioned.
I think you have to understand impact position. So as you're doing this drill, you know, if somebody thinks impact position is like this, that's going to be a problem on its own. So impact position, go back, look at the video, just review what we talked about with impact, and then from there, find out what grip works for you so that you can commit to the swing that you want to make. Hopefully you're getting a golf lesson with your PGA professional, or you're watching our videos and you have a good golf swing. By the time you get to doing this drill, you're already pretty much there.
Know that you've got 3 options in terms of behind the grip, where you can go 10-finger, interlock, or overlap. And those are going to influence how the hands are placed on top as well. We know that we can have a closed face, an open face, or a neutral face, and that will be dictated by the lead hand and what position you place it on the golf club.